shall we? Yeah, no, that one. That one. There it is. So, the stream's up. Chat's up. And I can hear myself, so everything is working as it should. So, hello and welcome everyone to round 9 of the Formula Endurance Championship here on Race Spec Esports. Now, you may have noticed the commentator sounds a little bit different from what you'd normally hear. That's because Black Moon is unavailable to commentate for this race. I'm Lane Everingham, commentator for a few championships in this league, and I'll be your substitute streamer for this evening. And for this round of the Formula Endurance Championship, we're at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. The third oldest permanent racing facility in the world, the legendary 5.79 kilometer 11-turn Monza circuit, is not too dissimilar to the one constructed back in 1922. The circuit, regarded as Formula One's Temple of Speed, has a simple layout, but there are still several sections to look out for, such as Variante Ascari and its deadly inside curves at turns 9 and 10. There are two primary overtaking spots with the assistance of DRS into Variante Rettifilo, formed by turns 1 and 2, and into turn 8, the beginning of Ascari. We may also see some action into Variante della Roggia, formed by turns 4 and 5. With this in mind, hopefully we get to see an entertaining race, but with the nature of the circuit, we tend to see massive DRS trains form, and we don't get a lot of action out of those. But hopefully we will get an entertaining race. But first, we must watch the all-important qualifying session and see who can put their car on pole position. Now, I've just noticed that Dan the Racer has retired from the session. Did he voluntarily retire? Or did he crash out of curiosity? I'm not 100% sure. I'll just quickly rewind the stream just to find out. Yeah, I think he's retired in the pits, so perhaps he has a qualifying ban that he must serve? Perhaps? Oh no! There's his stationary after turn 2. I'm pretty sure. So he might have crashed out. I'm not 100% sure. But no, this is the first time I've commentated a 100% race since... I think it was this... Oh my goodness, as El Tonki goes airborne there. Yeeting over the inside curb at turn 4. Fortunately, he's still in the race, in the qualifying session. He hasn't retired just yet. But, yeah, this is the first time I've done a 100% race since the All-Star race at the end of Season 4. I'm pretty sure it was at the end of Season 4. And it was at this very circuit, too, Monza. So, I'll be a bit rusty with the 100% races, but hopefully I'll do alright. But looking at the names as well, there are several that I recognise, but there's several new ones as well that I haven't seen at all in my commentating career, so it'll be interesting to see how those drivers fare over the course of both qualifying and in the race. But names such as iContrast, Ferrari Pro on screen, Plebs, Dan the Racer, Hillez, El Tonki Breno, a lot of names I recognise, but new ones like Ripper Rick, I haven't seen him before. I think that's Twitch Litty? Ricky? I think that's Ricky. Crazy Kiwi I don't think I've met before either. He was on top of the leaderboard. He was soon overtaken though by Scotty, setting a 21.152. Almost a full grid as well, which is really, really good to see. Just one short. 19 car field. As Ferrari Pro crosses the line to jump up to, wow, second place. Only 1/1000th of a second separating the top two, so it's pretty close at the moment. As you kind of expect here at Monza. As I mentioned before, technically there's not a lot to this circuit. So qualifying tends to be close as iContrast sets a 1:20.2. Blitzers the leaderboard at the moment. Ripper Rick, driver who I haven't seen before, heading towards Ascari, turns 8, 9 and 10. You have to be very, very careful, particularly at turn 10. It has quite a tall inside curve. And if you take it at the wrong angle, you'll spin out and go into the barrier. It's that simple. Sometimes you're fortunate enough to not go into the barrier, but you're more than likely going to end up in the wall. Probably out of the session. As Rick is coming up to the finish line, set at 21.9, 7th quickest at the moment. Plebs is getting ready to set a flying lap on the medium tyre as well. To take advantage of this, go on board and take you on a tour of the Monza circuit. Heading down towards Retafilo, turns 1 and 2. Probably the best overtaking spot on the circuit. Second gear, nice and easy through there. Now heading around the flat-out right-hander of Curva Grande. Keeps it pinned, 8th gear. You'll tend to see a lot of the drivers use that little bit of inside curve there as well. Into Della Roggia. 3rd gear. Through the chicane. Back end was a bit skatey there. Around the Lesmo curves now. And around turn 7, the second Lesmo. We'll open DRS and head towards the oval overpass. There's the old banked oval right there. Into Ascari, turn 8. Gets it down to 5th gear. Through turn 9. Then the deadly turn 10. You can see avoiding the inside curve. On the back straightaway, heading towards Parabolica. Probably my favourite final turn out of any racetrack on the Formula 1 calendar. I do so love this turn. Feels so rewarding when you get it right. Heading up towards the line, Plebs will set a 21.5. Goes just in front of his teammate. In P9, now shuffled down to P10. Old Tonki, after making a mistake earlier, is currently on a flying lap. Renault, P2 is on a flying lap. Exiting Ascari, heading down towards Parabolica. You can see a lot of support in the chat as well from JBH and Broke Vegan. Cornick P1, you're saying. Alright, I'll hold you to it. I know Ferrari Pro is quite quick around many racetracks actually. Well, both Ferraris look pretty quick at the moment, being P2 and 3. But we still got plenty of time left in qualifying. Buster! Don't think I've seen you before. Making his way through turns 1 and 2. Heading towards Curva Grande, turn 3. 8th gear, 310, 315, 320 kilometers an hour into turn 4. 3rd gear, gets on the throttle, back on the brakes a little bit. He overcooked turn 4. As a result, he was a bit compromised at turn 5. But importantly, he's keeping it on the black stuff. Underneath the overpass, towards Ascari. 334 kilometers an hour on entry. 5th gear through turn 9 and through turn 10. Random yellow flags being... I don't... Why were there yellow flags being shown there? There was no reason for that. Don't think anybody was going slowly through there. Ooh, a bit of desync there, but that's okay. Keeps it narrow. Towards the line. The Haas driver goes P14 with a 22.1. My name is Jeff. 05. Great username. Is he car number 5? No, he's car number 8. Close enough, I suppose. Car 5 is taken, of course, by Sebastian Vettel. Coming around Curva Grande, 7th gear. Gets it into top gear. Let's see, we saw 319 kilometers an hour from Buster. We see 322 through Della Roggia. very nicely through there. Heading towards the first Lesmo. He's got a bit of traffic in front. A Haas and a McLaren. I'm sure Buster is a Haas. McLaren, not Crazy Kiwi, so it must be BP V8. Heading down towards turn 8 is car 8. What an amazing coincidence that is. Through turn 9, then turn 10. A bit different from Buster, he keeps it in 6th gear rather than 5th. And back straight away towards Parabolica. The gap to the McLaren in front is big enough so then Jeff isn't impeded. Exiting Parabolica. What will the clock say? 1 minute 21.3, 10th fastest overall. BP, the car in front, setting his second flying lap through the opening chicane, 2nd gear, modulating the brake and the throttle to try and get his way around turn 2. There's a soft tyre just stationary there. You saw that on the outside of the circuit. That must have been Dan's, where Dan ended up when he crashed out at the beginning of qualifying. Through turns 4 and 5. Around Lesmo 1. Then into Lesmo 2. 5th gear. Very nicely through there. Very tidy. Down towards Ascari. Entry speed 335 kilometers an hour. He's 6/10 up in the middle sector. Exiting turn 10, going on to the back straight. Coming back up into top gear. 315, 320, 322, 323 kilometers an hour as he enters Parabolica. Gives you a proper understanding on why this is Formula One's Temple of Speed. That is a pretty quick lap from BP. Goes straight to pole position with a 1 minute 20.079. Eye contrast getting ready to set a flying lap. GeForce Zach, another name that I recognise. He's going back into the pits, I believe. He's got a flashing red icon, so he's low on fuel. Crazy Kiwi has retired, so he'll be starting 18th with 5.5 minutes left in the session. Interesting. Breno. Man who I haven't seen on track in a while, and that is Scotty out of qualifying. Right on board here with Tinselman. Coming through Ascari. Find his car. There it is there. On the side of the racetrack. So Scotty, the best he can hope for is P7. I believe Tinselman is coming towards the end of the lap. This is another new name that I haven't seen before. How will he fare at the end of the lap? What will the clock say? Says he's improved by half a second, setting a 1 minute 20.346. Goes 3rd fastest overall. Alex currently P4, a name that I do recognise. But not a Pacific region driver. He's from Italy. I wonder what time it is for you, Alex, over in Italy. Hopefully it's not early in the morning. I hate doing morning races. I'm not a morning person. Much prefer the evening races. Plebs up by 6/10 of a second in the middle sector. Exiting Ascari. Making his way back up through the gears. Yellow flags. A Red Bull going slowly. It must be Alex, I think. Yes, it is. He's out of fuel. That's why there's yellow flags about. Exiting Parabolica. Heading onto the pit straight. Plebs is going to set a 1 minute 20.457. Goes 5th quickest. Sets the exact same lap time as Alex Pato and P4. Look at that. Exactly the same lap time. Fantastic stuff. Tinselman running out of fuel. That's why he's going slowly. Bringing out yellow flags because that's a feature that Codemasters decided to add in. Is that it will show yellow flags for a driver who has run out of fuel. Eye contrast, exiting Parabolica, completing another flying lap, sets a 1 minute 19.990, goes to pole position and is the first driver in the 19s. Can anybody join him? Let's see. Chronic Saint. I believe he's on a flying lap. He is using up some battery. Ooh, as Litty has left the session. Hopefully they'll be able to rejoin soon. Down by only 0.05 of a second in the first sector, so I believe Chronic is pushing. We'll have to see what Sector 2 says. It's the second Lesmo, a tad bit wide perhaps. Heading towards the Sector 2 split. Yeah, down by 1/10.5. Saint doesn't have a lot of time left in the session. Only 2 minutes left, so I don't think he'll be able to go into the pits and put on new tyres and come back out in time, so I think this might be it for Chronic Saint. Unless they go for another push lap. Chronic is going to complete the lap. Down by 0.3, setting a 21 flat. Right, drivers getting ready to set their final flying laps. A lot of drivers doing at laps as I speak. The first of which is Italian countryman Alex Pato. Breno has retired. Where is he? He must be in the pits, is he? I suppose so. Oh, I'm pretty sure I thought I saw him on track. I must have been mistaken. As Alex begins his final flying lap. Down towards Rettifilo. Slams on the brakes. Second gear for turn 1. First gear for turn 2. Short shifts on the exit. A bit squirrely on the exit too. Losing a little bit of control. But he's kept it on the black stuff. He's still going. Sector 1 says up by 3,000. So Alex has still found time. Exiting turn 5. A bit squirrely on the exit. Coming around the first Lesmo. 5th gear. It up to 7th gear for the entry to the second Lesmo. An open DRS down towards Ascari. What does the Sector 2 split say? For the Red Bull driver, up by 1/10. A little over 1/10. Yellow flags in the first sector. That is a Mercedes-Benz. Is it Tinselman? No, it's Chronic. Bringing out yellow flags, so probably trying to get out of the way. And he's out of fuel, so that explains the prolonged yellow flags. So he's run out of fuel. Up towards the line for Alex. He's improved by almost 0.3, goes to P3. BP up by about 3/4 of a 1/10 of a second, heading towards Parabolica for the final time in qualifying. Exits the famous final turn, up towards the finish line. BP cannot take pole position away from my contrast. Tinselman has invalidated, so he can't either. What about G-Force Sack? No, down by 4/10. There's no way he can take pole. He's going straight into the pits. Ripper Rick down by 10 seconds, so his qualifying session is over. Same with Honest Crook. Completing his lap. 17th quickest with a 22.3. So that's it. Qualifying over. And it's high contrast on pole position with a 1 minute 19.990. The only driver in the 19s. Followed by this man, BPV8, with a 1 minute 20.027. 37 thousandths of a second separating the top two. Really, really close stuff. Alex qualifies in 3rd place, followed by Tinselman in P4. Plebs in P5. Zach in P6. Ferrari Pro in 7th. Chronic Saint in 8th. Breno in 9th. And Scotty rounds out the top 10. with all of those drivers inside the top 10 starting on the soft compound tyre, if, and only if, it's a dry start. Outside of the top 10 we have Gilles, Ripper Rick, Jeff in P13, Buster in P14, El Tonki 15th, Litty in 16th, Honest Crook in 17th, Crazy Kiwi in 18th, and Dan the Racer will complete the field in 19th place. But there we are, very close towards the top. Very, very close indeed. And I'm sure Alex is happy that he's starting towards the front for his home race. Tinselman in P4. It's not a bad place to start on the second row either, because you can get a little bit of slipstream heading towards turn 1. Just a little bit. And if you can get the start right, I wouldn't be at all surprised if either Alex or Tinselman, for that matter, could end up in the lead at turn 1. But they need to get through turn 1 cleanly, which isn't easy to do here at Monza. You know, this track is known for a lot of things. It's known for its speed. It's known for the tifosi, the devout fans of Scuderia Ferrari. It's known as being one of the oldest racing facilities in the world. But in the sim racing community, it's known for another thing, and that is a lot of drama at turn 1, lap 1. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we saw something at turn 1 here at Monza. Typically you do. It's just the nature of the corner. Or, well, rather, the nature of the opening 2 corners, because you tend to see a bit of argy-bargy going through turn 2 as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw even more argy-bargy at turns 4 and 5 at Della Roggia. But, the time is counting down. We're getting ready to set off on our formation lap, and we get to see who's starting on what tyre outside the top 10. Now, due to my limited experience with 100% races, I don't exactly know what the strategy is, but I probably think soft medium is the way to go around here. You know, if you get into a bit of trouble early on, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw drivers hop onto the hard tyre. But I think if we had, well, if a driver had a mistake-free race, then I imagine a lot of them will probably do a soft-medium or a medium-soft race. Let's find out. So we'll bring up the tyre graphic. We'll get rid of the interval graphic for now. We'll bring it back in just a moment. So there we are, top 10. By contrast, BP, Alex, Tinselman, Plebs, Zach, Ferrari Probe, Chronic Saint, Renault and Scotty. Top 10, starting on the soft tyre. Gilles is the first driver outside the top 10, sporting a Casper Ackermann helmet as well. He's starting on the medium tyre, same with Ripper Rick in P12. Jeff in P13, starting on the soft compound tyre. I like that decision, it's aggressive. He wants to make up positions early, try and get towards the front of the field. Buster in P14, starting on a set of mediums. Same with El Tonki in P15. Litty in P16, who has just rejoined the session, their AI has decided to start on the soft tyre. So obviously the AI thinks that soft medium is probably the way to go. Honest Crook is the only driver in the field starting on the hard compound tyre. It might work, but they need to stay out of trouble early in the race. They don't want to get any sort of damage. They don't want to be doing that sort of stuff. They want to keep out of trouble. Hopefully make up a few positions, but ultimately avoid mistakes. And have a nice, clean opening stint. Behind him we have Crazy Kiwi in P18 and Dan the Racer at the back of the field, starting on the medium compound tyre. Could be hoping to make up a few places early on in the race. The leaders are lined up, well, rather lining up, getting ready to race. We'll just be waiting on the back end of the field to line up into their grid slots and we can get this race underway. Now, hopefully we won't see any carnage at turn 1. It's a long, long race. 53 laps here at Monza. The race definitely can't be won on the first lap. But you can definitely lose it on the first lap. But everyone's lined up and ready to go here at Monza. We have 10 red lights. And it's lights out. And away we go. Down towards turn 1. BP gets a tremendous start down the inside. Into Retafilo we go. Oh, it's a bit of a car park. Oh dear, oh dear. Everybody's trying to get through, but somebody is spun. That's Buster in the Haas. He is spun out. Around Curva Grande we go. A bit of side-by-side action here. El Tonki, Jeff heading side-by-side towards turn 4. Oh, Jeff overshoots the corner a little bit as Letty has left the session. Well, I suppose we had to expect some sort of drama at turn 1, and unfortunately for Buster, it happened to him. Heading through Ascari, come the top 10. Everyone behaving themselves at the moment. See the position changes. BP up a position, Tinselman down 2. Up 2 rather, Eye Contrast down 2. Plebs up 1, Alex Pato up 2, down 2. There's Jeff and Tonki. Still scrapping it out here. And side by side at turn 4. Well, Tonki won that small battle. It seems Jeff has reclaimed that 12th place. The problem is with tight racing like this early in this race, it's very difficult to know where to look. As Eye Contrast shoots down the inside to retake second, away from Tinselman. The Mercedes driver is right on the back of the Aston Martin. As the interval disappears for a bit, probably get rid of that then for just a little while until it comes back. Heading towards Ascari, Tinselman not using any battery down here, but you can see on his steering wheel he's already used half, and somebody has spun out. It's the Red Bull. Ah, El Tonki's out. Crashing out at the exit of the second Lesmo. Oh dear. So unfortunately for the Red Bull. Oh, hang on, that Red Bull's still moving. Oh, he must have voluntarily retired then on track. Because that car's still moving. Well, I'll be. Big lock up there from BP, you could see it. Big plume of smoke coming up. Alright, the interval's back, the intervals are back. Tinselman on the back of Plebs. Plebs took P3 away from him. He would like it back, I'm sure. Through De La Rogia, as I realise there's a thunderstorm approaching my area. Oh, and a big spin! It's Chronic! He's spun out to the exit of turn 5. Oh, and a big jump there from Dan the Racer. He goes straight into the barrier. He's got a damaged front wing as well, as you kind of expect. With an impact like that. We'll have to make a pit stop to get that fixed. It's going to send him a long way back. BP, he's a fair way forward in front of Eye Contrast. 2 seconds between them. And in clear air, he's just able to pull away. Eye Contrast, he's got Plebs, pretty much the rest of the top 10 right behind him, pressuring him. Oh, and spinning into the barrier, it's Tinselman. Oh, how is he still in the race? You're kidding. He lost control at the exit of Parabolica as Plebs overtakes Eye Contrast for third. Look at that, completely shattered front wing. At least he didn't have to do an entire lap to go back into the pits. Chronic Saint moves into 13th. Scotty, Ferrari Pro, side by side around Curva Grande. Heading towards Della Roggia. Ferrari Pro tries to fight. Can't really do it. Not around the outside of turn 4. Jeff is now involved in this too, so Ferrari Pro is in an AlphaTauri sandwich. Crazy Kiwi has lost a few positions. That was at the first Lesmo. Towards Ascari, Ferrari Pro looking down the inside into turn 8. Gets it done nice and easily. Down the back straightaway towards Parabolica. I'm sure Scotty would like that place back. And I'm sure Jeff would like to follow his teammate as Scotty goes round the outside. At Parabolica, what a move! But will he get DRS? That is the question. And that is Jeff, I think. Spinning out. It is. So he's lost control. In a similar style to Tinselman. There's a big lock up there from Ferrari Pro. Both drivers get through Retafilo relatively well. There's Hilles just behind as well in P9. He wants a piece of the action. But a few drivers making mistakes early on. Less than ideal in a race as long as this. And we already have our first retirement. Haven't seen our first safety car though. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did see one. Towards Ascari. Scotty doesn't go for the move just yet. He's sitting right behind, ready. Try and take that P7 back. The drivers in front are fairly well spread out too. Got 1.7 seconds between Alex and I Contrast. 1 second separating Zach and Alex. 1.3 seconds separating Breno and Zach. This is the closest battle we've got in the whole field at this stage. Scotty, will he go for a move? The answer is no. There we go. Towards the front, we do have a battle for second. Plebs and I Contrast battling for P2 and 3. Through turns 4 and 5 they go. Then into turn 6. The gap is 0.6 of a second. Around turn 7. Contrast, I don't think he'd be close enough to attack. But he will close in. Into Ascari we go. And 4/10 separating P2 and 3. There's BP. There's Pleasant Eye Contrast and Alex in P4. Towards Parabolica we come. And that's Ferrari Pro out of the race. Right on board here with Chronic Saint. And there is the Ferrari crashing into the outside barrier at turn 10. Our first safety car of the race. And the virtual Tifosi sigh in disbelief. They can't believe it. But there's still a Ferrari in the race, and that's Breno in P6, so they've still got something to cheer for. Scotty comes in for a set of medium compound tyres. Ripper Rick coming in as well. Same with Chronic Saint. Oh, and Litty in P13 too. Set of hard tyres on Chronic's car. What about Ripper Rick? He's going on to the hards too. Set of mediums, fresh mediums. Let's see here. On Litty's car, same with Honest Crook and Jeff. This is what Dan the Racer was hoping for. Safety car so he can catch up to the tail end of the field. Will he pit in for fresh tyres? He doesn't really need to. His tyres aren't that old. He's only done a lap on them and he stays out. That's only fair enough. What about these fellas towards the front? We've got 6 drivers on the soft compound tyre, and Buster has just given himself a drive-through penalty. Oh dear, oh dear. You need to be very mindful with that delta. You cannot exceed it. Leaders stay out. All of the soft runners stay out. Gilles doesn't. Gonna come in, put on some fresh tyres. What kind of tyres? Look like mediums. They are. Fresh set of mediums on the car. Leaves the pit lane. I don't think he'll be overtaken by Scotty. Oh, actually, this might be close. There he is. This is going to be really close. And Gilles will get it. Oh, but he overshoots turn 2. Gilles went very deep into turn 1 to make sure he had P9. But he keeps it. Right. So a few drivers making stops. See here. From P9 all the way down to Dan the Racer in P17. They've all made a pit stop. Everyone else in front, Crazy Kiwi, all the way up to our race leader. They haven't made a stop yet. See here with the tyres, top 6 on the softs. And we got Buster and Crazy Kiwi on worn mediums. Unfortunately for Buster though, he's going to drop down right to the back of the field if he has a drive-through penalty. But Gilles on fresh medium, same with Scotty in P10. Tinselman is on relatively fresh mediums, only 3 laps old. He had an accident at the exit of Parabolica which cost him a fair amount of time. But he's now back in P11. His teammate Chronic Saint in P12 on hard compound tyres. Same with Ripper Rick in P13. Litty in P14 on mediums. Same with Honest Crook. And Jeff in P16. They're all on fresh mediums. And then the racer still catching up to the back of the field on similar age tyres to Tinselman in P11. That's it. Not too bad at the moment. Racing has been pretty good. Can't help but feel we'll see some drama on the restart. If we do see any drama, hopefully I'm looking in the right spot when it happens. Yeah. Then the racer is almost onto the tail of the train. So we might be back under green flag racing by the end of this lap. Now the safety car naturally will go back into the pit lane at this moment. The lights would go out and he will drive off. This might be a bit later than normal. Then has caught the back end of the train and there goes the safety car. So BP will check up just a little bit. Hopefully slow the field down. Bunch them up and he'll get going. But he's got quite the gap to Plebs. What's going on? Plebs, you need to be right up his gearbox. Yeah, that's better. Coming up to the start line, or rather the finish line. And we're back on the green flag racing. And Eye Contrast is going to go for position. Always Twitch. Letty has been disqualified. Oh, I see. Spinning out at Ascari. Or at least I think that's what happened. Oh, and a touch there between Alex and Eye Contrast. The field checks up. Exiting turn 2. Through Curva Grande we go. And Breno has dropped to the back of the field. Something happened to him. I wasn't paying attention. Around the Lesmos we go. Everyone's behaving themselves. Good to see. What happened to Renault? One wonders. Oh, you could probably get rid of the tyre graphic for now. Bring back up the interval. Has Renault got damage? No. No, he doesn't. Gonna have to check the stream just to see what happened to Brennan. Coming around Parabolica. Field very much bunched up, and Jeff has spun out at the Parabolica curve. He's now a long way behind. Heading into turn one once again. Oh, an overtake there from Tinselman down the inside of Scotty. Going around Curva Grande with this excellent aerial shot. Ah, I see from the stream. So Breno, I'm not sure if he was helped, but he spun out, exiting turn one, entering turn two. He was on the right-hand side of the track. Oh, and spinning into the barrier is Kiwi. Crazy Kiwi is out of the race, losing control at the exit of turn 5. That is retirement number 4 here at Monza, and we have a virtual safety car. Another brief pause here in the race. But yeah, I was quite curious to see what happened there to Breno. He just lost control. I think he might have been helped. He was on the grass on the right-hand side of the road at the chicane. So that explains why he's down in 14th. The drivers have to be very careful here. They don't want to get to drive-through penalty for speeding. Litty has rejoined the session. Through the chicane we come. Top 4 being very mindful of the delta. Very tightly packed group back here. Look at them. 4 cars in a row. Gilles, Tinselman, Scotty, and Chronic Saint. We're still under VSC. This is a very long virtual. DRS is now enabled. We're back under green flag racing here at Monza. And no drive-through penalties being handed out. So everyone managed their deltas pretty well. Tinselman on the back of Gilles as Breno overtakes Dan the racer for 13th. Tinselman, will he go for it? Not yet. Not yet. He's right on the back of Gilles, heading down the back straight towards Parabolica. Buster is the car ahead of Gilles. He has to serve a drive-through. As the Mercedes goes down the inside of Parabolica, Gilles goes deep and wide, losing a position in the process. Buster goes into pit lane to serve the drive-through. Drop to the back of the field, most likely. Sector 1 yellows. Oh, hello, eye contrast. G-Force Zach. They've come together at turn 2. Always Tinselman loses it on the grass, but he manages to gather it back up. Now, eye contrast. He has to be a tad bit careful after spinning out. His tyres won't be in great condition. But he seems to be managing pretty well. Honest Crocker overtaking Reaper Rick. Hang on a minute, what's going on here? Oh, dearie me. Rick has got serious damage on his Williams, a missing front wing. So he'll have to come into the pits and have that repaired. Through Ascari. People Zach making a position. Chronic Saint given a 3-second time penalty. As Alex is under a bit of pressure here. Down the back straight towards Parabolica. Tinselman is looking around the outside. Commits to it. Gets the position. In fact, Alex might lose another hit to Alex. Oh, I see. He's coming into the pit lane. So he might have some damage on his Red Bull. No one going for positions just yet. A bit lock up though. Zach goes straight on and gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. He gives the position to Tinselman. Doesn't keep P3. And he might give up P4 here. He does. He'll be trying to get that 3-second time penalty removed by doing that. To make sure he shows the stewards that he gained no advantage by cutting the course and hopefully getting his 3 seconds removed. Hiller's right on the back of Zach. Heading down towards Ascari. Sitting right on his gearbox. He tries to draw alongside. He does. Looking around the outside into turn 8. Zach goes very narrow and gives up the position. But Hiller's goes straight on. Onto the gravel a little bit. Here comes Scotty. He's on the back of Zach. Draws alongside. Down towards Parabolica. They're side by side heading towards the corner. And Scotty goes through. Into P6. I'm pretty sure I saw a flashing light with one of these cars. As G-Force Zach goes into the pits. So he might have some damage. That explains why he was going so slowly. Basically giving away his positions. He's going into the pits. What will he actually pit on to, out of curiosity? Set of mediums for him. Tinselman right on the back of High Contrast, heading towards Della Roggia. Not close enough to attack just yet. Not close enough. Out in front, BP still leading the way. Plebs in hot pursuit. I see. Listen. It's really unfortunate when your internet decides to do that. I've had that happen to me on a few occasions where my internet just straight up doesn't want to cooperate. It keeps kicking you out of sessions. It's really not great. I really do feel for you. Unfortunate that this kind of stuff happens. And around Parabolica, there's a battle for P3. Pleb's not quite close enough to battle for the lead, so we won't look at him just yet. But Tinselman, I reckon he's close enough. Using DRS, using a bit of battery as well. He wants to go for the move. Down the inside, into Rettifilo we go. And he's through into third. Fortunately for Contrast, it's the only position he loses. He's on the hunt to get that P3 back, I'm sure. Hilles and Scotty are right behind. Same with Chronic Saint in P7. Though at the back of the DRS train, he'll find it difficult to battle anybody. Unless one or two cars in front make some sort of mistake. Not quite close enough, Plebs. But he is steadily chipping away. He's half a second behind. Tinselman hanging on to P3 for now. It's only 3/10 separating the two as they exit turn 10. Here comes Contrast in the slipstream. He's got a healthy amount of battery to use as well. Just over 50%. Heading towards turn 11. And through Parabolica. Might be able to have a go. And he will. Retakes P3. Tinselman can do nothing. Big lock up into turn 1 though. He was braking pretty hard into turn 1 there. Sector 1 yellow flag. That's Dan the Racer. Spinning out. Gets it going. He's going to get overtaken here, potentially. Not quite. Oh, but he's off the circuit. He takes out a Pirelli board. 2 Pirelli boards. Those poor, innocent styrofoam boards. They've been knocked down. Through a scarring. Oh, Tinselman gets a horrible run through turn 9. Gap opens up just a little bit between himself and High Contrast. Hiller's still there in P5. Scotty's still there in P6. Though Chronic Saint has fallen away. The gap between him and Scotty is 2.3 seconds. Make that 2.2. Now Tinselman. He's got DRS. He's closing in. Will he go for a move or will he stay behind? He'll stay behind. He'll play a more sensible game. Going through Variante Retafilo. Though, he is close. Speaking of close, Jeff overtakes Dan the Racer. Oh, he's right on his gearbox. It's always a bit hair-raising when you see something like that, where you see a front wing that close to a gearbox, because you know 1 or 2 millimeters closer and it can all go horribly wrong. Down towards the scarring. 3/10 separating the two. Through they go. Gap opens up quite a bit through turn 8. High Contrast obviously has a lot of confidence through the chicane. Really able to send it. But I have to say, with all this wobbling, it's really allowing the top 2 to just walk away with it. The gap between Plebs and High Contrast is just over 10 seconds. Which is quite massive. Gentleman is going to retake 3rd place. He too locks up into turn 1, braking hard into the opening corner. Much else going on throughout the rest of the field. But that's okay, we're entering the sort of mid-phase of the race. This is where drivers enter a rhythm. They don't want to make any mistakes. Want to try and maximise their stint on the tyres, as Ferrari Pro has left the session. That's fair enough. I'm sure he's bitterly disappointed after crashing out. Plevs attacking BP. He's right on the back of the McLaren. But he hasn't made tremendous inroads in trying to take the lead away from BP. He's just sort of stayed behind. Tell from the battery as well. In fact, I'll bring up the telemetry just briefly. 84% for Plev, so he's saved up a fair bit of battery life. Compare that to BP, only has, well, at this stage, see here at the exit of turn 2, 29%, 92%. It's a considerable difference between the top 2. And it's just Plev trying to play a smart game here. He doesn't want to use up his resources too quickly. He knows full well that this race is very, very long, 53 laps, and they're only at lap 20. There's no point battling now, as Hillez and Scotty are doing exactly that. Oh, and Hillez actually backs out of the throttle there. And you can see with Scotty, that flashing light, he's running low on battery. Compare that to Hillez, he's got 71%. See, the battle for P3. And what is now a proper battle for P5 as Hillez overtakes Scotty. What about High Contrast? No, he stays. He stays in P3 for now. Rather P4. Tinselman stays in P3. Rest of the field behind this leading group is fairly well spread out. Closest battle is between Jeff and Dan in P11 and 10. Gentleman might be overtaken here. High contrast closing in. No, stays behind. So yeah, we're entering that sort of phase where the drivers don't really want to battle for position. This is sort of a surviving period until the end of the race, where they really start to scrap it out. Through Variante della Roggia. Nice and steady. No contrast, just keeping the pressure on though. He doesn't necessarily have to battle Tinselman, but what he can do, he can stay right behind the Mercedes and try and force a mistake. Maybe Tinselman rides a curb wrong or something like that, and he spins out and goes into the barrier. That's one less driver that High Contrast has to worry about. That's one of the better things about being the chaser rather than the chasee, is that you can apply a fair amount of pressure to the car in front. Try and force a mistake as BP goes into the pits on lap 22 of 53 here at Monza. He'll be putting on the medium tyres and going straight to the end, so he'll have to do about 32 laps on the tyre, which is quite doable. If the softs can do 21, then the mediums can do 32. High Contrast is sitting right behind. Not doing anything silly. He's doing what Plevs has been doing for the past few laps with BP. And BP comes out a second behind Renault, so he's in relatively clear air, but he still needs to try and get a move on. Needs to get by Breno, hopefully as soon as possible. Though I assume Breno would be pitting at this time as well. And the second Lesmo. Contrast half a second behind, he'll close the gap. What about Plevs? Our race leader, what will he do? Probably pit. And this actually introduces a interesting scenario that the drivers might be thinking of doing. As Plevs stays out another lap. Interesting. These medium runners have completed their tyre compound requirements, so they can theoretically go to the end of the race. Now it's only a matter of how long those mediums can last for. And again, due to my lack of 100% race experience as a commentator, I don't really know how long the mediums can last, as BP overtakes Breno, who goes into the pits. So Tinselman, Hillez, Scotty, Chronic Saint can probably go to the end on those tyres, as Breno goes onto a set of mediums. I'm going to assume that these guys on 15 lap on mediums, they're going to try and go to the end from here. That's what I'm going to assume. I don't properly know, but that's what I'm going to assume. Plevs trying to keep it nice and tidy out in front. Trying to hit his marks. He's using battery as well. See, he's trying to make the overcut work on BP. Undercutting here at Monza tends to be pretty good, but Plevs is in clear air. He's able to get the hammer down. And he's using up the battery he saved whilst being behind BP. He's coming into the pits now. So he'll be getting ready to start a medium stint. He'll be hopefully in front of BP. That's what his plan is to be in front of the McLaren. Let's find out. Keep an eye on that orange dot. It's right behind Chronic. This is going to be close. No, BP gets out easily. That's the undercut here at Monza. Quite powerful. Big lock up into turn one. You can hear the engine note drop out. Look at that. By doing a 2-lap undercut, BP has found 3 seconds on Plevs. So for staying out as long as he did on the soft tyre, it sort of backfired for Plebs. Even though he used up battery on the 2 extra laps he did on the softs, the sheer pace of fresh tyres was just too much. It's quite a blow for Plebs because now he's got a bit of hard work to try and catch up to BP. Now, what was the battle for 3rd place, now the battle for the lead. But I assume my contrast is going to be pitting in very shortly to get onto the mediums. Full parabolic we come. And contrast is going to stay out. My only guess is that he's praying for a safety car. Or something along those lines. Coming through the opening chicane. The gap is half a second between the top 2. Hilles isn't too far behind. Scotty in P4. Only 1.4 seconds behind Hilles. And then now, potentially provisional race leader BP. He's 5 seconds behind Scotty. Honest Crook has spun at turn 1, bringing out yellow flags ever so briefly. Lost a fair bit of time. Now got Alex Parter closing in. Plebs half a second behind Chronic. He would like to get by ASAP. You can see the flashing light, so he's running low on battery. Chronic doesn't put up too much of a fight. He knows he just doesn't have it in him in terms of resources, in terms of the tyre, to try and fight Plebs. He just lets him go and gets on with his own race. Alex overtook Honest Crook as well for P9. High contrast, just keeping up, closing in. He's going very, very long on those soft tyres. Very long. We're past the halfway mark. And we're still on those tyres. Credit to him. He's making them live. But how much of a benefit is it for him to stay out as long as he has? To be honest, I really don't see the benefit, but we'll have to wait and see. Fire contrast, see if it works out. Zach and Dan the racer, half a second separating these two. I'm pretty sure Zach overtook Dan. See the gap start to increase, 8 tenths, 8.5 tenths. Zacky's trying to claw his way back into the top 10. Alex trying to close in on Jeff in P8. Gap is 2.3 seconds. He's on fresher tyres and Jeff has made a mistake. Made Alex's job a lot easier. Rejoins the racetrack. Hopefully he doesn't uncoast in a poor place. He gets going. Oh, that's close between him and Dan the racer. Jeff made a mistake at the first Lesmo. Went off into the grass. He lost 3 positions, I'm pretty sure. 4 positions? 3 positions? 4 positions. Also on to Alex, Honest, Zach, and Dan the racer. You can see there's a fair old gap here. 13.9 seconds. That's pretty big. We've got this leading group, the top 7. You got the rest of the field. And Buster down in 15th place, praying for a safety car. As Jeff goes down the inside at turn 1. Job done for Jeff. He's into P11. BP closing in. Gap now 2.5 seconds between him and Scotty. Plevs, he's staying at about 3.3. Last time I checked, the gap between those two was about 3.2, so Plevs isn't making any inroads. These two are about even on pace. By contrast, will he pit this time around? The answer is no. Stays out another lap. This is a really, really long stint on the soft tyre. And he's just letting Tinselman drag him along. Big lock up there from the Mercedes, but he pulls up quite nicely. Gets through Rettifilo relatively okay. We can have a look at penalties as well, just ever so briefly. See the top 6 haven't got any penalties just yet. Chronic Saint is the first driver in terms of the leaderboard order who has a penalty, a 3-second time penalty. G4 Zach has a 3-second time penalty, but it's not through accumulating warnings. He got that for corner cutting turn 2, and I'm sure he'll be trying to get that removed. In fact, that's not the only thing he's hoping for. He's hoping to pass his teammate here. Side by side heading towards Della Roggia. Zach down the inside of turn 4, gets the job done. He's into P9. Another driver has a penalty. He's down to P12. That's down the Racer. And the final driver who has a pen, Ripper Rick, down in P14. He was overtaken by Breno just then. As Buster gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. He's got a missing front wing as well. He got a drive-through penalty, which is why he's so far back. But now he's going to be even more back. He's got a completely destroyed front end of the car. So he'll have to get that front wing replaced. As he gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Oh dear. Hang on a minute. He's retired out of the session. I looked away at just the wrong moment. Though we'll see the car in just a moment. Heading towards Della Roggia. There is his car on the racing line. Amazingly, it wasn't a safety car. Well, that's retirement number 5, and Dan the Racer speeding into the pit lane. Now has 11 seconds worth of penalties. Contrast still fighting on those tyres, doing a really nice job. So the 28 lap old soft. He's got the oldest tyres out of everyone still in the race. He's made them last quite nicely. And finally he pulls the pin. He's coming into the pits. Where will he drop? He probably will drop behind Chronic. Set of mediums going onto the car. Way he goes out of the pits. There goes Chronic. So Eye Contrast should come out in 7th place. I don't think Alex will overtake Eye Contrast. No, he definitely won't. So P7 for the Aston Martin driver. BP now making his way back towards P1. Currently P3. He is 2.1 seconds behind 2nd place driver Hilles. And that gap is steadily closing. Through the second Lesmo. Doesn't have DRS available to him. So that gap will increase. Into Ascari we go. Chucks it in, uses all the curbs. Very, very tidy through there, very committed. And Hilles, he's right on the precipice of losing DRS. But he's got it just. So he can keep up this fight with Tinselman. But he's low on battery. So is Tinselman, in fairness. I saw the flashing red light at the back of the Mercedes. So both drivers running low on resources. There's your top 4 in one shot. Les isn't too far behind. Exiting Curva Grande towards Della Roggia. The gap is 1.2 seconds. Still just chipping away at the margin. Tinselman starting to Pull away. Hiller's trying to come back. Does he have DRS? No. So this will help BP out tremendously. Up from 1.5. Hiller's doesn't have DRS to keep the McLaren at bay. Closes in by about a tenth and a half through Ascari. Fantastic aerial shot here looking over the circuit. Exiting Parabolica. Can see where the oval would rejoin onto the main Grand Prix course. For those who don't know, this used to be a combined road course and oval. It's quite the spectacular circuit. And one fascinating fact about it is that it was exactly 10 kilometers. Almost exactly, to the meter, 10 kilometers. As Plebs gets by Scotty at Curva Grande, the AlphaTauri doesn't really put up a fight. I think he understands that it's just at too much of a disadvantage with the tyre difference. The banking of the oval was at a staggering 30 degrees, which, if memory serves me right, is steeper than Daytona. I think Daytona is 26 degrees of banking. Pretty steep. As BP down the inside takes P2 away from Hillers. He now has his sights set on our race leader, Tinselman. The combined Grand Prix and oval course was quite notorious, incredibly fast. None of the chicanes existed during the time. So we would have no Retafilo, you go straight into Curva Grande. There was no Della Roggia either, or Ascari, so it was properly quick. And the banked oval was very fast, but also insanely bumpy. It was incredibly dangerous. Grand Prix drivers back in the 60s who did race on the combined course, they said there's no more terrifying thing than feeling the car bottom out on the banked oval section at 180 miles an hour. Because you know full well if something breaks, you're gonna die. Such was the nature of Grand Prix racing back then. And it still is to this day. One thing can go wrong. A driver could end up losing their life. It's just it happens a hell of a lot less than what it did back in the day. BP almost within a second. Does he have DRS out of curiosity? Nope, he doesn't. But he probably will by the time he gets to the second Lesmo. Those fresher tyres really helping him out. He's hitting his marks. He's doing a really solid job out there. Okay, well, we could probably get rid of the tyre graphic for now too. Just to increase the viewing space a little bit more. Through the chicane. Gap is 9/10. Through the second Lesmo. Opens DRS. And begins to close in on our race leader. Ripper Rick gets by Breno for P12. The battle going on there. Through Ascari. Exiting turn 10, using a little bit of the inside curve. Down the back straightaway. Heading towards Parabolica. Get on the brakes. Fourth gear. Bring it up to fifth gear. Sixth gear. Seventh. Reaches top gear. You can see Tinselman running low on battery. Opens DRS. Does he use any battery BPVA? Nose. Just closes in with the natural power of DRS. Big lock up there from Tinselman. I'm not losing any time. Plevs also closing in on Hilles. Honest Crook, a 3-second time penalty down in P10. Contrast getting by Chronic Saint as Dan the Racer has retired, crashing out of De La Roggia. And we have a safety car when Plevs has just made that move for P3, just as soon as the safety car came out. So that will add quite a bit of spice to the race. Where's Dan the Racer? Can't see him there with those shots. And he's disappeared. Into the pits will come a few drivers. Got Jeff, Honest. Ripper Rick. Putting on soft rubber. As Dan has left the session. Oh, Jeff has put on mediums. Righto. Maybe didn't have any soft tyres left to use. Right. What do these fellas do? Well, I imagine a lot of them will pit. Maybe not BP or Plevs, but let's find out. No, they're coming in. Or Hilles overtakes and gets a... You're trying to be... And you're still not allowed to overtake. Oh, as Chronic Saints has crashed out, entering the pits. Oh dear. Here he is here. Look. He smashed headfirst into the wall. Interesting. Let me have a look at the stream, just ever so briefly. Because did he and let me look at that again. Because I'm pretty sure he and Contrast were fairly close together on track. Contrast comes in and Saint crashes out. I wonder if they went into the pit side by side. Can't help but wonder that might have happened. Rightio. So, with everyone making stops to put on fresh soft tyres, got Tinselman in the lead, followed by BPV8 and Hilles, Plevs, who's really revving his engine to try and dump fuel. Scotty in P5, Contrast P6, Alex P7, Zach P8, Honest Crook in 9th, Ripper Rick in 10th, Breno 11th, and Jeff in P12, last driver in the race. There we are. Into the pits goes Hilles. Ah, I see, to serve that 5-second penalty. Probably a smart move. So the 5 seconds being served. Aston Martin crew getting ready. On another set of tyres and he leaves the pits. We get overtaken by Breno here. It's absolutely storming down the pit straight. There we are. So, that's the scenario. Everyone's effectively on the same tyre. So we don't really need a tyre graphic, do we? We just need penalty graphic, essentially. G4 Zach, Honest Crook, Ripper Rick, they all have 3-second time penalties. Breno has a 5 seconds still. That's what got off for speeding, I'm guessing, when he did his pit stop. Probably not a bad idea for him to do exactly what Hilles did. Serve the 5 seconds now rather than at the end of the race. but we'll be getting close to the restart. I think we're doing one more lap, are we? No, safety car goes in really late, because this game is great. So Tinselman isn't given a lot of time to try and condense the field here. Oh, as Alex gets a 5-second penalty, severe collision with High Contrast, and High Contrast gets the same. And I think someone's coming in, it's Alex. Oh no. We're back on the green flag racing here at Monza. It's Tinselman who leads, followed by BP, as Scotty tries to look around. Plez can't make the move stick just yet. Oh, a bit of a car park here. The Alpines creating a roadblock, exiting turn 2. Coming around Curva Grande, Breno looking racy. Trying to make up some places here. Going 3 wide almost. Heading into turn 4. Oh, through the chicane we go. Tight stuff. But overall it's pretty okay. Tinselman still leading. Through Ascari we go. Well, it's a long way behind. He's going to have to hope for a safety car. And everybody here is going to the end. It's that simple. Around Parabolica. Leaders will cross the finish line to begin lap 39 of 53 here at Monza. And here comes BP looking down the inside towards the braking zone at turn 1. Tinselman goes deep. He has the inside line for turn 2. They're side by side on the exit. Heading up to Curva Grande. BP takes the lead. But for how long? Heading up towards Della Roggia. Top 3 really close together. Could throw a blanket over these 3. Through Lesmo 1. Then into Lesmo 2. No DRS just yet. It will be available next lap. Through Ascari, turn 8, 9, then turn 10. Heading towards Parabolica. The gap between the top 2 has increased a little bit, but not by enough. Tinselman will get DRS, I would imagine, on this lap, unless he makes some sort of mistake and loses 4/10 by the time they reach the second Lesmo. BP sets fastest lap. He's really trying to build the gap, pull away from Tinselman. Plevs is trying to get by, but doesn't actually go for the move. Through Retafilo we go towards Curva Grande. In the background, Breno and I believe that was Jeff were side by side at turn 1. Towards turns 4 and 5, the gap is less than half a second. Bit of dirt being flicked up there from the McLaren as they go through the Lesmo curves. 6/10 separating the top 2. Coming up to the DRS line. Tinselman, Pleb, Scotty, they all have it. We'll be closing in on our race leader. Through Ascari. As Tinselman gets a 3-second time penalty. You saw it there, just cutting a little bit too much at turn 8 as Breno moves up a position into P9 and Jeff, he too gets a 3-second time penalty around Parabolica, which in the recent past was renamed Curva Alboreto in honor of great Italian racing driver Michele Alboreto in recognition of 20 years after his passing. Quite a nice little nod there. tip of the hat, if it were, from the circuit owners. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. That's not nice stuff there. Jeff was effectively pushed off the circuit. Wasn't very nice stuff there, was it? Exiting Lesmo 2. Gap is half a second. Gentleman will close in. Oh, that's close. This is really close. You can see the Williams running low on battery. Well, rather Mercedes running low on battery. Looked at the wrong car as Eye Contrast moves into 4th place. Tinselman has used up his resources early, and here comes Plebs. He's got to run. He's going to go for it too. Down the inside. Into turn 1 we go. They're side by side through the corner. Through turn 2 they're still side by side. Exiting the corner though, Plebs gets the traction. He's into P2. The gap has opened up a little bit between him and BP. And there's sector 1 yellow flags. That's Hillers, I think, bringing out the yellow flags. Gets going again. Oh, and a big moment there from Ripper. Managed to gather it back up. Still in the race. You wouldn't want to bin it now. Not when you're so close to the finish. Tinselman, 3/10 behind Plebs. He wants to stay in this fight for the win. Through the Ascari chicane, the gap increases to half a second between Plebs and BP, who is weaving on the back straight to try and break the toe. There is Eye Contrast and Scotty in P4 and 5, just waiting in the wings. Waiting for any one of these three to make a mistake. Plebs will have DRS. We'll close in on the McLaren. We've got 11 laps to go here at Monza. This is looking like it's going to be quite the finish. Getting through the opening chicane pretty well. The top three, they got a 2.4 second margin to P4, which is Eye Contrast. He's at the moment got his hands full a little bit with Scotty in P5. Through the chicane of turns 4 and 5. Around the first Lesmo. Tinselman putting on a lot of pressure here. Showing the raw pace he's got. Closing in towards Ascari. Will he go for it? No, he'll stay behind. Top three bunch up again. But then they spread out quite a bit at the exit of Ascari. BP just has so much confidence through the chicane. He can find 4/10 out of nowhere. Well, maybe not 4/10, more like 2-3/10. 4/10 is a bit of an exaggeration. Down the pit straight towards turn 1. Plebs running low on battery, but he is closing in. Oh, it doesn't go for a move quite just yet. What about Scotty? Nah, it doesn't go for it either. What about these fellas? Honest Crook, Hillers, Breno. No. None of them are willing to battle just yet either. Plebs sort of goes half defensive there. Put the car in the middle of the road saying, Tinselman, you're not overtaking just yet, alright? You're staying right there. And look at BP, pull away. Dirty air, most likely playing a big factor. Williams just losing a lot of downforce in the corners. Tinselman is doing really, really well right behind Plebs. Applying a lot of pressure. towards Parabolica. Gap is about 5.5 tenths. Increases a little bit on the exit. Players will close in once again. Got 9 laps to go here at Monza. Still got plenty of laps to sort this battle out. But how desperate will they get? Sector 3, yellow flags. Jeff is out of the race. And we have another safety car. This adds a lot of drama. This is going to make it a sprint-style finish to this Italian Grand Prix. Right on board here with Alex. Where is Jeff? Had he despawned already? You're kidding. Oh wow. I was like, where's his car? It despawned. Damn. In comes Alex. New set of tyres going on the car. He's got a lot of work to do to catch up to the tail of the field, but he'll get there eventually. The drivers have to be very mindful to not get any oh god, that's right, Plevs revs the car a lot to try and dump as much fuel as he can. And whoa, some drivers were thinking about it. Send the dummy. Lovely aerial shot here looking over the racetrack. You can see, oh, hello. Breno into the, Honest Crook into the pits to put on some fresh tyres. On they go, and away he leaves. Yeah, those aerial shots are rather fantastic. I do enjoy them. Around here in Monza you get to see the many service roads that are around the racetrack that are actually used for the Monza Rally, which is once again being part of the WRC calendar after Rally Japan pulled out due to COVID. Once again, the WRC is hosting its final round here at this quite legendary racetrack, and they actually use bits and pieces of the banking. Sort of. They're not allowed to use the very top of the banking at high speeds, but they're allowed to use sort of the lower part of the banking as part of some of the stages here at the circuit. It's a pretty cool event. It's quite the spectacle. And it gives you a completely different look of what Monza is like. To see the infield. See parts of the banking as well that you never get to see with these cameras around the circuit. It's pretty neat. The rest of the field is all caught up. Just waiting on Alex now to join the back of the train. He'll be hoping that he can make up a few places. There are quite a few drivers that have penalties. Tinselman, Contrast, GeForce Zach, Breno, Ripper Rick, and Honest Crook. They all have penalties, so he'll be hoping to capitalize on that. If he'll be able to catch up to the back end of the train in time. But this should be quite the dramatic finish here. The field is bunched up as it is. A lot of drivers have become that little bit more desperate to try and make moves. The drivers become that little bit more desperate to try and hang on to their positions. Because I can assure you, not a single one of these drivers want to go backwards. They want to go towards the front. The only driver who doesn't think that is the man in the lead. What is he thinking? Well, he's thinking, I'm going to stay here by any means necessary. So this should be quite the finish. And I think Alex has caught up to the back of the field. The safety car might duck in late once again. Yeah, it will. So we are going to have a 6-lap shootout to the checkered flag. 11 cars are still in the race. Will we see any more retirements? Maybe. Well, what I'm not sure of is who is going to win this race. We're back under green flag racing here at Monza. It's lap 48 and 53. And Tinselman, he's going to try and make moves here. Looking down the inside into turn 1. Goes for it. Pledge keeps it tight. He has the inside line for turn 2. Bit of argy-bargy. But he keeps it on the racetrack. Tinselman doesn't run wide. He has the inside line for Curva Grande. And look at BP pull away. Already a second. BP's loving this battle between Tinselman and Pledge. Pledge fighting down the inside at turn 4. Both of these drivers know it's costing them the chance to win. BP now has the opportunity to just get his head down and just fly off into the distance. The gap already 1.3 seconds. The rest of the field making their way down towards Ascari. Here we go into the chicane. Gap has increased to 1.4 seconds. Down towards Parabolica. Gap increases a bit more. Around the famed final turn, and Alex has retired. So is Honest Crook. And we have another safety car. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Honest Crook and Alex Pato have crashed out on a straight heading towards Parabolica. We have the safety car deployed again. And we're down to 9 cars. This was pretty much the only thing that could stop BP from winning, because he had every right to win this race because of how hard Pledge and Tinselman were battling on the restart at turns 1 and 2 and 4 and 5. But now they have to stack up once again for another safety car restart. Imagine that. Imagine getting this far and crashing in that sort of fashion. Imagine that. Right. How is this going to pan out? We'll do 2 laps on the safety car. We'll get back to racing. We'll probably have maybe a 2-lap shootout. I don't think DRS will be available for anybody in the final few laps. I think it completely depends on when the safety car goes in. Because if it goes in at the end of this lap, then they will have DRS on the final lap. Yeah, on the final lap. But you'll only be able to use DRS once, and that's between the second Lesmo and Ascari. So if any of these guys want to make moves, they're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. And Pledge, he needs to be right on BP's gearbox for this restart. He needs to be right behind. He cannot give any leverage to BP whatsoever. He needs to be ready, and the safety car is in this lap. So we will have 3 laps of green flag racing. We'll have lap 51, lap 52, and lap 53. That's all we got to sort this out. On lap 53, drivers will have DRS. That's only between turn 7 and 8. The second Lesmo and Ascari. But look at the gap. Plebs, you need to be right there. Right there, right on his gearbox. You cannot leave a big gap. Otherwise, you'll just catch you napping on the restart. There we are, he's right there. And BP goes. Not a bad restart. Tinselman looking. Here we go. Down towards turn 1. On lap 51 and 53. Drivers go deep. Bit of contact here and there. Nothing major, though. They get through the chicane. Breno and Zach. Oh, dearie me. Breno was quite sideways there. But he catches it. Oh, and Ripper was on the grass there. But he keeps control of the car. Down towards De La Roggia. Oh, Codemasters, work with me here, please. None of those horrible camera angles that provide nothing. Around the Lesmo curves. Using up their battery. Plebs, he has a little bit of a slipstream from BP. This is where BP is so good through the Ascari chicane. Look how committed he is through there. And leading just a little bit. Just trying to break a little bit of the toe. Around Parabolica, Jeff has left the session. Fair enough. Suppose he didn't want to see the end of the race live. No DRS. Not using any battery just yet either, Plebs. Into turn 1. All tight stuff here, Hillers and Scotty. Some big lock-ups from drivers in front. Towards the front of the field again. Plebs closing in. Through De La Roggia. Gap is 4 tenths and... Oh, someone's off. Oh, it's Tinselman. Off the racetrack. There he is. He's lost it. Coming out of turn 5. He's crashed into the inside barrier. He's out of the race. So it's now a 2-horse race at the front. BP V8 versus Plebs. Half a second separating the two. Neither driver has a penalty. Oh, a bit wide there, BP. That could have been a warning. Down the back straight towards Parabolica. Around they go. Exiting turn 11 to cross the finish line to begin the final lap. Lap 53 of 53 here at Monza. It's 6 tenths separating the top two. Down towards Rettifilo. Big lock up there from BP. But he keeps up the speed. Plebs doing his best to follow. He needs a hell of a second sector. If Plebs has any chance of winning this, he needs to nail this second sector. Through De La Roggia. Through that pretty tidily. Round the first Lesmo. He'll have DRS. He'll close in through the second Lesmo. Uses up whatever battery he's got left. Opens the DRS slot. He'll close in. He won't be close enough to attack. But he closes in to within half a second of the race leader. As they exit Ascari for the final time. It's 7 tenths. I think BP has done enough. So long as he doesn't make a mistake at the final turn. It's been a superb drive from the McLaren driver. He's really worked hard at this. He's earned this victory. He will take the checkered flag and win the Italian Grand Prix and claim fastest lap on the final lap as well. A superb performance from BP V8. I'm sure he'll be happy with this one. Plebs in P2, and I believe it's Scotty that completes the podium. Double check that though when we see the podium celebrations. Hillez, driver of the day, we'll see his performance in a little bit. But again, first, podium celebrations. Oh, look at that, he's chucking rubbish to the crowd. There's copies of F1 2020. There's the podium, and I believe it is Scotty in P3. How about that? But a fairly dramatic finish to what has been a fairly nice race. There was a lot of stuff going on all the way through. It was a pleasure to watch. But look at that. 79 minutes, 38.8 seconds, the final time. And just under 1 second separating the top two in the end. Scotty will come home in P3, followed by Hillez in P4, I Contrast in P5, Zach P6, Ripper Rick in P7, and our final finisher, Renault in P8. Tinselman retiring, crashing at turn 5. Honest Crook and Alex Pato crashing down the back straightaway. I'm sure there'll be something in regards to an incident report involving these two. I'm sure of it. Jeff in P12. And Chronic Saint, Dan the Racer, Buster, Crazy Kiwi, Litty, Ferrari Pro, and El Tonkio first retirement. How about that? 19 cars started, 8 finished. Really does show you how brutal this track can be. Tend to see quite a few retirements around here. That was certainly fun. Quite surprised that my voice has hung on for 2 hours. Or close to it. Even in the 50% races, my voice can often wear out on me. But no, it hung on in there this time around, so I'm pretty happy with that on my end. But I'm sure this man will be pretty happy with his win. Congrats again to the top 3. Provisional top 3, of course. We'll have to wait until the stewards do their thing with the reports. But yeah, congratulations regardless, and congratulations as well to BP with a fantastic performance, a full complement of points next to his name. I'm sure he's very happy with this. But I think with the race finally over, we can wrap up the stream. Tune in throughout the week, as there's still plenty of racing to come here on Race Spec Esports, but for the Formula Endurance Championship, we'll have to wait until next Saturday. Hopefully with your regular coverage from Black Moon. I'm sure he'll be ready to come back next week for round 10 of the championship. But until then, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you for the longest race in Season 5 for Race Spec Esports. Round 10 is at the Marina Bay Circuit for the Singapore Grand Prix. That is going to be a proper test of endurance. Hopefully we get to see you all there, but until then, it's goodbye.